Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Tonight, we're stepping into a creepy tale straight out of the 90s, set in a haunted house on a lonely hill. Imagine taking a job cleaning an abandoned mansion, only to get a list of weird rules that sound like a ghost story. Would you stay for the cash or run for the hills? Let's find out in the headless house on Blackthorn Hill. Grab some snacks, dim the lights, and let's dive in. The old Chevy sputtered up the dirt road, its headlights slicing through the fog. That hugged Blackthorn Hill. Emily Harper gripped the wheel, her knuckles pale. The radio playing a fuzzy Nirvana tune, Come As You Are, barely audible over the engine's cough. At 26, she was used to tough times, waitressing double shifts, skipping meals to pay rent, but nothing hit harder than watching her parents fade. Her dad's cancer ate at him, her mum's heart condition kept her in bed, and the medical bills piled up like leaves in fall. Emily needed money, fast, and that's why she was here, driving to a job she didn't understand. At a house nobody wanted to talk about, Blackthorn Hill loomed outside Eden's Hollow, a small Maine town where everyone knew everyone, and everyone avoided the old house at the top. It was a two-story wreck, its wood grey and peeling, windows cracked, cypress trees around it dead and twisted, like they'd given up years ago. Locals called it cursed, whispering about a family that died there, but Emily didn't care about. Ghost stories. $500 a week to clean a dusty house. She'd take it, no questions asked, even if the job came with a catch, Mrs. Helen. The old woman who'd hired her had met her at the diner yesterday. Her eyes were sharp, her hands shaky as she slid a handwritten list across the table. Rules. She'd said, her voice low, follow them or don't come back. Emily had skimmed the paper, half smiling. Don't leave your room after midnight, no matter what you hear. Don't look in mirrors after 10 p.m. It sounded like something out of a bad movie, but Helen's stare wasn't joking. The house has expectations, she'd added, and left Emily with the keys and a warning to start that night. 9 p.m. sharp. Emily parked by the house, the Chevy's engine ticking as it cooled. The air was cold, smelling of damp earth and something sour, like old wine gone bad. She grabbed her backpack radio flashlight. A sandwich hand stepped out, her sneakers crunching gravel. The house looked worse up close, its front door warped, the porch sagging like it might collapse. She unlocked the door, the key stiff, the hinges groaning loud enough to wake the dead. Inside, dust coated everything wood floors, a staircase with a broken rail, a chandelier draped in cobwebs. The living room had a fireplace, cold and black, and a dining room with a long table, its chairs mismatched like they'd been collected from different lives. Her job was simple: clean the house at 9 p.m., set out a meal steak, bread, a bottle of red wine on the dining table before midnight, then lock herself in the upstairs bedroom and stay there till morning. Easy for $500 a week. Emily set her backpack down, pulling out her radio, the soft grunge filling the quiet. She propped a photo of her parents on the fireplace mantel, her dad smiling, her mum's arm around him, before sickness stole their light. This is for you, she whispered, her throat tight, then got to work. The house was a mess. Dust so thick it stuck to her hands, but nothing creepy happened. She swept floors, wiped tables, the radio keeping her company, Pearl Jam's alive crackling through static. The rules were weird, but she followed them, didn't look at the hall mirror, kept windows shut, avoided reading the faded Bible. Verses carved into door frames. By 11 p.m., she'd set the meal out, the steak smell mixing with the house's sour temps, the wine bottle glinting under the dim chandelier. She checked her watch, 11:45 p.m., headed upstairs to the bedroom. A small room with a creaky bed, a locked window, and a dresser with no mirror. Like someone had removed it. The rules nagged at her as she locked the door, the bolt heavy, the key cold in her hand. Don't leave after midnight, no matter what. She laughed, shaking her head, sitting on the bed with her sandwich, the radio low. Ghosts, my ass, she muttered, thinking of her mum's smile, her dad's cough, the bills waiting back home. The money would help, maybe buy them time, a better doctor. That's what mattered, not some old lady's ghost stories. But the house was too quiet. The radio's static, louder than the music. Outside, the fog pressed against the window, the cypress trees' shadows in the moonlight, their branches like fingers. Emily turned up the radio, Nirvana again, trying to drown the silence, but her eyes kept drifting to the door. The lock, the rules folded in her pocket. If the lights flicker, stand still. Close your eyes, count to 10. She snorted. But the chandelier downstairs buzzed, its light faint through the floorboards, like it was listening. At 12:05 a.m., a sound came soft, like a whisper from downstairs. Like someone reading, low and steady, words she couldn't catch. Emily froze, her sandwich halfway to her mouth, her heart picking up. The rules said don't leave, but it was just wind, right? A pipe creaking, an old house settling. She laughed, nervous, and lay back, pulling the blanket up, the radios. Static hissing, the whisper fading, leaving only the quiet, heavy and waiting, like the house knew she was there. The old house on Blackthorn Hill creaked under the weight of its own silence. The fog outside thick enough to choke the moonlight. Emily Harper sat on the creaky bed in her upstairs room, the door locked tight, her radio humming a soft purl. Jam tune, porch, through static. It was her third week working as a cleaner in this dusty, abandoned mansion, and she'd fallen into a rhythm sweep, the floors at 9 p.m. Set out steak, bread, and wine by midnight, then lock herself in, till dawn. The rules Mrs. Helen gave her were weird. Don't leave your room after midnight. Don't look in mirrors after 10 p.m. Don't read anything aloud. She'd laughed them off at first, figuring they were some old lady's way of spooking her. But that whisper last night, like someone reading downstairs after midnight, stuck in her head, sharp as a splinter. Emily shook it off, pulling her parents' photo from her pocket, their smiles faded but warm. We're gonna get through this, she whispered, her voice soft in the cold room. The $500 a week was a lifeline. Hospital bills were down. Her mum's new meds were helping, her dad's cough quieter. She'd called home earlier, her mum's voice weak but happy, asking about the job. Just cleaning, Emily. Had lied, not mentioning the rules, the sour smell in the air, or the way the house felt like it was watching her. She didn't want them to worry, not when every dollar counted. Downstairs, the dining room table was set, the steak smell mixing with the house's musty temps, the wine bottle catching the chandelier's dim glow. Emily had cleaned earlier, her broom kicking up dust that never seemed to settle, the floors creaking like they resented her touch. She'd avoided the hall mirror, its glass cloudy, and kept windows shut, the rules nagging at her, even if she didn't believe them. The meal always vanished by morning, plates clean, like someone came in the night. She figured Mrs. Helen or the owner snuck in, though she never heard a car, never saw footprints. It was weird, but not ghost weird, not. Yet, the house was quiet most nights. Just the wind rattling the cypress trees outside, their dead branches scraping like nails. Emily kept her radio on, grunge and outrock filling the silence. Nirvana's "Where Did You Sleep Last Night" crackling through. She'd noticed things pictures on the mantel, a family of 4, their faces scratched out, like someone wanted them forgotten. Bible verses carved into doorframes, faded but sharp, made her skin crawl. But she didn't read them, remembering the rule, don't read anything aloud. The chandelier buzzed sometimes, its light flickering, but it never went full and spooky, so she let it slide. Tonight felt heavier, the fog thicker, the sour smell stronger, like spoiled milk left out. Emily finished her sandwich, sitting cross-legged on the bed. The clock ticking toward 12:30 a.m. She'd locked the door at midnight. The bolt heavy, the key in her pocket, the rules folded beside her parents' photo. She didn't believe in ghosts, not really, but that whisper last night, like a prayer or a curse, had kept her awake, her eyes on the door, waiting for it to come again. It didn't, and she'd slept, telling herself it was just the house settling. Old pipes groaning in the main cold. She turned up the radio, trying to shake the unease, the static louder than the music. Her flashlight sat on the dresser, its beam weak, the room's shadows long and sharp. She thought about home, her mum's cooking, her dad's bad jokes, the way they'd danced to old records before sickness took over. The money was worth it, she told herself. Worth the creepy house, the weird rules, the long drive up Blackthorn Hill. She'd stay, keep her head down, get the cash, get her parents better. That's what kept her here, not the whispers, not the rules. But at 1 a.m, a sound came, a sharp clatter from downstairs, like a plate hitting the floor, loud enough to cut through the radio. Emily froze, her breath catching, her hand on the volume knob, turning it down. The clatter came again, softer, like someone was moving dishes in the dining room. Her heart kicked up, her eyes darting to the door, the lock still in place. Rules screamed in her head. Don't leave your room after midnight, no matter what you hear. She grabbed the folded paper, her fingers shaky, reading it in the flashlight's glow. No matter what, it's nothing, she muttered, her voice thin, trying to convince herself. Maybe a raccoon got in, or the wind knocked something over. She'd seen no signs of animals, no holes in the walls, but it was better than ghosts. Right, she stood, pacing the small room, the floor creaking under her sneakers. The sound stopped, the house silent again, but the quiet was worse, like it was waiting. She thought of her parents, the hospital bills, the money she'd already sent home. She couldn't lose this job, not over a noise, not over some stupid rules. She sat on the bed, pulling her knees up, the radio's static hissing, no music now, just white noise. She stared at the door, the lock, the key in her pocket heavy, like it was daring her to use it. The whisper from last night echoed in her mind, low and steady, like a voice reading something holy or unholy. She shook her head, grabbing her parents' photo, holding it tight. Just a house, she said, but her voice shook, the sour smell creeping under the door. The chandelier downstairs buzzing, its light flickering through the floorboards, like a warning. The silence in the upstairs bedroom was suffocating, the radio's static hissing like a trapped snake, the sour smell seeping under the locked door. Emily Harper sat on the creaky bed, clutching her parents' photo, her heart still racing from the clatter, downstairs plates hitting the floor, sharp and wrong. Just after 1 a.m, the rules Mrs. Helen gave her screamed in her head. Don't leave your room after midnight, no matter what you hear. She'd heard whispers before, that low murmur like a prayer, But this was different. Louder, real, like someone was in the house. Her flashlight beam shook, cutting through the dark. The fog outside pressing against the window. The cypress trees' shadows clawing at the glass. Emily stood, pacing the small room, her sneakers soft on the dusty floor, just a raccoon. She muttered, her voice thin, trying to talk herself down. A month at Blackthorn Hill, and nothing had happened, no ghosts, no monsters, just dust and creaks. The meal she set out steak, bread, wine always vanished by morning, plates clean, but that was probably Mrs. Helen, right? The rules were nonsense, a prank to scare her, and she'd followed them anyway, locking herself in, avoiding mirrors, keeping windows shut. But now, that clatter echoed in her mind, too real to ignore, too loud to be wind or pipes. She grabbed the rules from her pocket, the paper crinkled, reading them in the flashlight's glow. Don't leave after midnight. If the lights flicker, stand still, count to 10. The chandelier downstairs buzzed, its dim light pulsing through the floorboards, like it was daring her. She thought of her parents, her dad's cough, her mum's weak smile, the hospital bills, waiting. $500 a week. She couldn't lose this job over a noise, couldn't let fear win. What if it's a thief? She whispered, her hand on the door's bolt, the key cold in her palm. A thief she could handle, better than ghosts she didn't believe in. Against every instinct, she unlocked the door, the bolt scraping loud in the quiet. The hallway was dark, the air colder, the sour smell stronger, like spoiled meat. She held her flashlight, its beam narrow, and stepped out, the floor creaking under her weight. The rules nagged don't do it, but she pushed them down, her heart pounding, telling herself she'd check the dining room, make sure it was nothing, then lock herself back in. The staircase loomed, its broken rail jagged, the hall mirror. At the bottom, cloudy, reflecting nothing but shadows. She kept her eyes off it, remembering. Don't look in mirrors after 10 p.m. halfway down the stairs. The clatter came again, softer, like a spoon tapping a plate from the dining room. Emily froze, her breath shallow, the flashlight shaking, its light dancing on the walls. The house was too quiet, no wind, no radio now, just that tapping, steady, like someone was eating. She reached the bottom, her sneakers silent on the wood floor, the chandelier above buzzing, its light dim, casting long shadows. The dining room door was open, the table visible, the meal she'd set out steak. Bread, wine still there, untouched, the wine bottle glinting red in the glow. She stepped closer, her flashlight sweeping the room, finding nothing, no raccoon. No thief, no broken plates. The tapping stopped, the silence heavy, the sour smell choking her. She turned to go, her heart easing, ready to laugh at herself for being scared. But the clatter came again, loud, from the table, like a plate slammed. Down. She spun, her flashlight beam landing on the dining room, and her breath caught, her legs locking. 4 figures sat at the table, where nobody had been seconds ago. They were human, sort of 2 men, a woman, a kid, but their heads were gone. Their necks raw, dark stains dripping down their old clothes. A suit, a dress, a kid's overalls, all from another time, maybe decades ago. They moved, slow and jerky, hands lifting forks, cutting steak, the meat vanishing into the air where mouths should be, the wine glasses tilting, red liquid spilling down their chests. Emily's flashlight shook, her scream stuck in her throat. The sour smell now like death, thick and wet. She stepped back, her sneaker catching a creak, and the figures paused, their hands frozen, like they'd heard her. The chandelier flickered, the rules flashing. Stand still, count to 10. But she couldn't, her body shaking. Her flashlight beam trembling on the table, the blood pooling under their plates, thick and black. She backed away, slow, her eyes locked on them. The figures still, but the air colder, the shadows longer, like the house was alive. Watching her break the rule, her back hit the staircase, and she turned, stumbling up the steps, her flashlight, beam wild, the hall mirror glinting, showing a flicker of something not her, but a woman's shadow, faceless, moving. She didn't look, didn't dare, the rules screaming, no mirrors. The figures didn't follow, but their forks scraped plates again, the sound chasing her, joined by a low laugh, not human, echoing through the house. She reached her room, slamming the door, locking it, her hands shaking so bad the key nearly fell. She sank to the floor, her back against the door, her flashlight off, the dark swallowing her, the laugh fading, but the sour smell lingering like it was inside her now. Morning light crept through the fog, turning Blackthorn Hill's cypress trees into grey skeletons outside the shattered windows of the old house. Emily Harper sat against the locked bedroom door, her knees pulled up, her flashlight dead, her parents' photo crumpled in her hand. The sour smell of death lingered, faint but stubborn, like it had soaked into her clothes. Her heart still pounded from last night, those headless figures at the dining table, their forks cutting steak, blood dripping from their necks, that low, inhuman laugh chasing her up the stairs. The rules were real, not Mrs. Helen's prank. And Emily had broken the big one. Don't leave your room after midnight. The house felt different now, alive, its silence heavy, like it was waiting for her next mistake. She stood, her legs shaky, the floor creaking under her sneakers. The radio on the dresser was silent. Its plug yanked after last night's static swallowed Nirvana's music. She checked the clock 6:30 a.m. and unlocked the door, the bolt scraping, her hand trembling. The hallway was cold, the hall mirror at the stairs cloudy, showing nothing, but she kept her eyes down, remembering, don't look in mirrors after 10 p.m. The rules were folded in her pocket. Next to her parents' photo, their faces her anchor. She needed this job, $500 a week for her dad's chemo, her mom's heart meds. She couldn't run, not yet, not without a plan. Downstairs, the dining room looked normal. The table empty, plates gone, no blood, no steak, no wine. The chandelier hung still, its buzz gone, but the sour smell clung, stronger here, like something rotted under the floorboards. Emily grabbed her broom, starting her morning clean, her hands moving fast, trying to outrun the fear. She swept dust, wiped tables, avoided the mantles, scratched out family photo, its faceless figures too close to what she'd seen. Her eyes kept darting to the windows, expecting those headless shapes. But the fog hid everything, the hill quiet, too quiet. By noon, she needed air, the house's walls closing in. She stepped onto the sagging porch, the cold Maine air clearing her head. The backyard was a mesdead grass, twisted cypress, a rusted fence, but something caught her eye, a small shed, half hidden by vines, its wood black and warped, a padlock glinting. She hadn't noticed it before, her days spent inside her, nights locked away. Curiosity pulled her, stronger than fear, her sneakers crunching frost as she crossed the yard. The rules didn't mention a shed, but after last night, she needed answers, something to explain those figures that laughed on inside. The kitchen, she found a keyring in a drawer, rusted but heavy, one key fitting the shed's lock. Her heart kicked up, her hands sweaty despite the cold. The shed door groaned open, the air inside damp, smelling of mold and wax. Her flashlight, recharged, lit up shelves of old Bibles, their covers cracked, pages yellowed, some open to Psalms, others stained red like blood. Candles, burned to stubs, sat on a wooden table next to a leather journal, its spine broken, pages curling. Emily's breath caught, her fingers brushing the journal, the rules nagging. Don't read anything aloud. She wouldn't, not after last night. But she needed to know. She sat on the shed's dirt floor, the journal open, its handwriting tight. Dated 1955. It belonged to a man named Amos Carter, a preacher who lived in the house with his wife Ruth, and their kids, James and Lily. The entries started normal sermons, harvests, church picnics, but grew darker. Amos wrote of a boarder, a drifter named Elias, who stayed in 1955, his eyes wrung, his voice like a snake's. Elias brought rituals, carvings in the walls, blood under the table. One night he snapped, killing the Carters, taking their heads, burning them in the yard. Amos's last entry was a plea. The house is cursed. They're still here, eating, waiting. Don't break the rules. Emily's hands shook, the journal heavy, the shed's air colder, like eyes were on her. The Carters, 4 of them, like the figures at the table, headless, eating her meal. The rules made sense now. Don't leave after midnight. The house was their prison, the meal their ritual, the rules their leash. She'd broken one, woken them, and that laugh, that shadow in the mirror, was their warning. She closed the journal, her breath fast, the Bibles around her seeming to hum, their pages rustling, though no wind came. Back in the house, she called Mrs. Helen from the kitchen's rotary phone, her voice shaking. I'm done, she said, the journal under her arm. This place ain't right. Helen's voice was calm to calm. You signed a contract, Emily. The money's good double it, if you stay. Emily froze, thinking of her parents, the hospital bills, her dad's cough. $1,000 a week could save them, by time, maybe a miracle. I saw things, she said, her voice breaking. Helen sighed. Follow the rules, and they won't hurt you. Break them again, and I can't help you. The line went dead. The dial tone loud, the sour smell back. Like the house was listening, Emily sank into a dining room chair. The journal on the table, her parents' photo in her hand. She wanted to run, drive her Chevy down the hill, never look back, but the money, her family, kept her here. She'd be careful, lock the door, follow the rules, no more mistakes. But the house felt heavier, the chandelier buzzing, the mirror in the hall glinting, like it wanted her to look. She cleaned, her hands numb, the journal's words burning in her mind. They're still here, eating. That night, at 9 p.m., she swept, set out the meal, her hands steady but her heart racing. The clock ticked toward midnight, the fog thicker, the cypress trees clawing at the sky. She locked herself in, the bolt heavy, but the silence was gone, replaced by laughter low, not one voice but many, from downstairs like a party starting. The rules were in her pocket, useless now, her flashlight beam on the door, shaking as a woman's voice, soft and wrong, whispered her name from the hall, the mirror outside glowing faintly, waiting for her to break again. The laughter echoed through the house on Blackthorn Hill, low and layered, like a crowd at a twisted party, rising from the dining room below. Emily Harper stood in her locked bedroom, her flashlight beam trembling on the door, the bolt heavy but feeling flimsy against the sound. The woman's voice, soft and wrong, whispered her name from the hallway, Emily, dragging out the syllables like a taunt. The sour smell of rot seeped under the door, thicker now, like the house was breathing it. The rules were crumpled. In her pocket, useless after she'd broken the big one, leaving her room after midnight. Seeing those headless figures eating her meal, their necks dripping, forks scraping plates. The journal from the shed burned in her mind. The Carter family, murdered in 1955, cursed to haunt this place, woken by her mistake. Emily backed away from the door, her sneakers silent on the dusty floor, her heart hammering. The radio on the dresser was dead, unplugged since its static swallowed her music. But it crackled anyway, spitting white noise, a faint laugh buried in it, not hers, not human. She grabbed her parents' photo from the bed, their faded smiles grounding her, reminding her why she stayed. $1,000 a week now Mrs. Helen's offer after Emily's call. Double the pay to keep her here, enough to save her dad's life, give her mum a chance. She couldn't run, not yet, not when every dollar meant hope, but the house was alive, the Carters awake, and the rules couldn't protect her anymore. She sank to the floor, her back against the bed, clutching the photo, whispering, "I'm sorry," to her parents, to herself, for being so stupid, for thinking the rules were a joke. The laughter grew louder, not just downstairs, but everywhere, bouncing off the walls. The chandelier downstairs buzzing, its light pulsing through the floorboards. The mirror in the hole she hadn't looked, but its glow leaked under the door, like it wanted her eyes. The rule screaming, "Don't look in mirrors." After 10 p.m. she'd seen a shadow there last night. A woman, faceless, moving, and now it was back, closer. Whispering her name, a new sound came, a knock, soft but sharp, on her door. Emily's breath stopped, her flashlight falling, its beam spinning, lighting up the dresser, the radio, the rules on the floor. The knock came again, 3 times, slow, like a guest waiting. The rules flashed, "Don't leave your room, no matter what you hear." But this was new, not clatters or whispers, a knock, deliberate, like the Carters knew she was here, scared, trapped. "Go away," she whispered, her voice shaking, breaking another rule she didn't know. "Don't answer, don't speak." The laughter spiked, sharp and cruel, the woman's voice louder, "Emily, come eat." The chandelier's buzz turned, 2 flickering, the light strobbing through the floor. The rule hitting her. If the lights flicker, stand still, count to 10. She stood, frozen, eyes shut, counting, her lips moving, 1, 2, 3. The knocking stopped, but the air grew colder, the sour smell choking, like something was in the room. At 10, she opened her eyes, the flickering gaunt, but the radio blared, unplugged, a woman's voice singing a hymn, old and slow, Amazing Grace, the words warped, like they came from underwater. She kicked it, hard, the plastic cracking, but the hymn kept going, joined by footsteps, heavy. Pacing the hallway outside, Emily grabbed a Bible from the shed, left in her backpack, and held it tight, its pages brittle, her hands shaking. She prayed, words her mum taught her, "Our Father, who art in heaven," but the hymn drowned her. The footsteps louder, the door rattling now, like hands were pushing. The mirror's glow brightened, the shadow moving, not in the hall but in the room. On the wall, a woman's shape, no face, no head, arms reaching. Emily screamed, dropping the Bible, its pages opening, red stains blooming, words appearing, "Come, eat." She backed into the corner, the door shaking, the laughter deafening, the sour smell a cloud, her flashlight dead, the dark swallowing her. She thought of her parents, their hospital beds, her dad's hand squeezing hers, her mum's voice saying, "You're strong, Emmy." She couldn't die here, couldn't let the Carters win, not when her family needed her. She crawled to the bed, pulling herself under, the floor cold, dust choking her. The door stopped rattling, the laughter fading, but the hymn played. The footsteps circling, the shadow on the wall stretching, fingers brushing the air near her face. She held her breath, clutching her parents' photo, praying for morning, for light, for anything to stop this. Hours passed, or minutes' time, blurred in the dark. The hymn cut off, the footsteps gone, the mirror's glow dimming, but the sour smell stayed, like it was part of her now. Emily crawled out, her body trembling. The clock showing 4 a.m., the fog outside thinning, the cypress trees still. She grabbed the Bible, its pages blank again. No red, no words, but heavy, like it held something alive. The rules were useless, the journal's truth clear. The Carters were here, eating, waiting, and she'd woken them. Her mistake a key to their cage. She stood, her legs weak, the door still locked, the bolt bent like something had pushed hard. The laughter was gone, but the woman's voice came again, faint, from downstairs. "Emily." Not a taunt now, but a command, the dining room table waiting. The meal she'd set out, calling her, the Carters' forks ready. The mirror glowed, the shadow moving, and Emily knew she couldn't hide forever. The house wouldn't let her. The rules broken, the curse awake, and the Carters hungry for her to join them. The old house on Blackthorn Hill groaned like it was alive, its walls pulsing with the sour smell of rot that clung to everything. Emily Harper stood in her locked bedroom, her back against the creaky bed, her hands shaking as she gripped her parents' photo, the only thing keeping her sane. The woman's voice whispered her name from downstairs, Emily, sharp and commanding, the dining room table waiting, the headless Carter's forks ready to scrape plates, the hall mirrors. Glow leaked under the door, the shadow of a faceless woman moving, the rules broken, the curse awake. Last night's horror knocks, warped hymns, words blooming in the Bible had left her curled under the bed, praying for dawn, but the house didn't rest, and neither could she. The clock showed 5 a.m., the fog outside thinning, the cypress trees still, their branches like claws. Emily's flashlight was dead, the radio silent, its cracked plastic staring at her from the dresser. The journal from the shed, hidden under her pillow, told her the truth. The Carters, murdered in 1955. Cursed to haunt this place, eating her meals, woken by her leaving her room after midnight. She'd called Mrs. Helen, begged to quit, but the doubled pay $1,000 a week kept her here for her dad's chemo, her mom's heart pills. Their smiles in the photo pushing her to stay, even as the house tried to break her. She needed to leave now, before the Carters called again, before the mirror's shadow touched her. She grabbed her backpack, stuffing in the journal, the Bible, her parents' photo, her hands clumsy, her breath fast. But as she reached for the door, the journal fell, its pages flipping open. Not to 1955, but a new entry, ink fresh, words jagged, leave, and they die. Emily froze, her heart stopping, the sour smell choking her, the room colder, like the house was watching. They meant her parents, she knew it, felt it. The Carters' curse reaching beyond the hill. Their headless forms hungry for more than steak. She grabbed the rotary phone from the dresser. Its cord tangled and dialed home her fingers. Slipping, her mum answered, her voice weak. "Emmy." Emily's relief crashed as her mum whispered, "There's something outside, a shadow, no face, standing by the porch." Emily's breath caught, the line crackling, a low laugh not. Her mum's, like the one from the dining room. "Stay inside, Mum, lock the doors." She shouted, but the line went dead, static hissing, the woman's voice singing, "Emily, come eat." She dropped the phone, her hands shaking, the mirrors glow brighter, the shadows stretching across the door. "No," Emily said, her voice raw, anger rising over fear. The Carters wouldn't touch her family, she'd fight, break their hold, whatever it took. She grabbed the Bible, its pages heavy, and opened it, ignoring the rule. Don't read anything aloud. She read a psalm, loud. "The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want," her voice shaking but strong, the house rumbling, the door rattling, the chandelier downstairs buzzing, its light strobbing. The Bible's pages burned her fingers, red stains blooming, words forming, "Join us." She threw it down, the room shaking, the mirror cracking, a scream not hers echoing from the hall. The laughter returned, louder, not just the Carters, but dozens, like the house was full, the dining room a twisted feast. Emily grabbed the journal, tearing the new page, its ink smearing like blood, and lit a match from her backpack, burning it, the flames green, unnatural, the sour smell spiking like burning flesh. The house roared, walls creaking, the door bending, the shadow in the mirror lunging, its faceless form filling the room. Emily screamed, diving under the bed, the flames dying, the journal's ashes scattering, the laughter turning to wails, like the Carters were in pain, their curse fighting back. She curled up, her parents' photo crushed against her chest, whispering, "I'm sorry, Mum, Dad, I'll fix this." The wails grew, footsteps pounding the hallway. Not four, but many, circling her door, the bolt bending, the wood splintering, the mirror shattered, glass raining, the shadow gone, but the woman's voice was inside now, in her head, "Replace us, Emily." The dining room called, forks scraping, blood dripping, the Carters' meal waiting, the house pulling her to join them, to take their place, to let them free. Emily crawled out, her body trembling, the room dark, the fog outside, glowing red, like the hill was bleeding. She stood, her backpack on, ready to run, but the door burst open, the bolt snapping, the hallway black, the chandelier's light gone. A figure stood there, not headless, but a woman, her face a void, her dress old, like Ruth Carter's from the journal, her hand outstretched, holding a knife, its blade rusted, dripping red. "Replace us," she whispered, her voice a chorus, the Carters' wails behind her, the house shaking, the dining room glowing, the table set, for chairs waiting, one for Emily. She backed away, her scream stuck, the knife glinting, the woman stepping closer, the footsteps louder, the house alive, its walls bleeding, the sour smell a fog. Emily fell, her backpack spilling, the journal open, new words burning, "Take the knife." The woman's void face tilted, the knife closer, the Carters' laughter back, hungry, ready to claim her, to make her one of them. Her family's fate tied to her choice, the house's curse closing its jaws. The air in the bedroom on Blackthorn Hill was thick with the sour stink of rot, the walls bleeding red, the floor shaking like the house wanted to swallow Emily Harper whole. She lay sprawled on the dusty floor, her backpack spilled, the journal open, its new words glowing. Take the knife. The faceless woman, Ruth Carter, maybe. From the 1955 murder stood in the shattered doorway, her old dress dripping with shadow, her rusted knife glinting, red stains on its blade. Replace us, she whispered, her voice a chorus of the Carter's wails, the headless spirit's laughter echoing from the dining room, forks scraping plates, hungry for Emily to join their curse. The mirror's shards glittered, the fog outside glowing red, the cypress trees clawing at the sky, the house alive, its jaws closing. Emily scrambled back, her heart slamming, her parents' photo crushed in her hand, their smiles her only anchor. No. She shouted, her voice raw, breaking another rule: don't speak, don't answer. The woman's void face tilted, the knife closer, the Carter's wails spiking, footsteps pounding the hallway. Not 4, but dozens, like the house was full of ghosts. She thought of her mom's voice on the phone, scared, seeing a shadow outside their home. The curse reaching her family because Emily broke the rules, left her room, woke the Carters. She wouldn't let them win, wouldn't take the knife, wouldn't replace the spirits, not when her parents needed her alive. She grabbed the Bible from the floor, its pages heavy, red stains fading, and threw it at the woman, the book hitting her chest, her form flickering like bad TV static. The wails turned to screams, the knife falling, clanging on the wood, the woman stepping back, her shadow shrinking. Emily lunged for her backpack, shoving the journal inside, the ashes of its burned page stuck to her hands, the sour smell burning her throat. The doorframe cracked, the hallway black, the dining room glowing, the table set with blood-soaked plates, 4 headless figures waiting, one chair empty for her. She ran, her sneakers slipping on glass, the hallway twisting, longer than it should. The mirror shards on the floor reflecting not her but the Carters headless, reaching, their hands clawing air. The rules were gone, useless, the journal's truth clear. The Carters wanted a new guide, someone to take their place, to keep their curse alive. Emily hit the staircase, its broken rail splintering, the chandelier above buzzing, its light strobing, the house fighting to keep her. The woman's voice chased her, replace us, joined by laughter. Not just the Carters but the house itself, walls groaning, blood dripping from the ceiling, pooling on the steps. Emily stumbled, her knee hitting wood, pain shooting through her, but she kept moving. Her parents' faces in her mind, her dad's cough, her mom's weak laugh. The front door was close, its lock rusted, the knob cold, but it wouldn't turn, like hands held it shut. She kicked it, hard, the wood creaking, the laughter louder, the Carters' footsteps behind her, heavy, their shadows stretching, headless, forms filling the hall. The knife appeared, not in the woman's hand but on the floor, sliding toward her, its blade scraping, whispering, "Take it." She turned, her back to the door, the Carters closer, their necks raw, blood dripping, forks in their hands, pointed at her. The woman stood at the stairs, her void face pulsing, her voice in Emily's head, "Replace us, or they die." Emily screamed, "You can't have them," and grabbed a chair from the dining room, swinging it at the door. Glass shattering, wood splintering, the lock giving way. The house roared, walls shaking, blood pouring, the chandelier crashing, its light gone, the dark swallowing everything but the Carters' glow. Their eyes where eyes should be yellow, burning. Emily fell through the door, landing on the porch. The cold Maine air hitting her, the fog red, the cypress trees bending like they'd grab her. She ran, her backpack bouncing, the journal heavy, her parents' photos safe in her pocket, her lungs burning, the hill's dirt slipping under her sneakers. The laughter followed, not behind but everywhere, the woman's voice screaming, "You can't leave." The Chevy was close, its headlights dim, the key in her hand, but the ground shook, roots breaking through, like the hill was alive, trying to keep her. She reached the car, yanking the door open, throwing her backpack inside, her hands shaking so bad the key missed the ignition. The house loomed, its windows glowing, the Carters at the porch, headless, their forks raised, the woman in front, her knife back, slashing air. Emily turned the key, the engine coughing, then roaring. The Chevy lurching down the hill, gravel flying, the fog parting, the laughter fading, but not gone, echoing in her head, "They die." She hit the highway, her breath ragged, the rear view mirror showing nothing but fog. No Carters, no woman, just Blackthorn Hill, shrinking, its red glow faint. She drove to Eden's Hollow, her hands numb, the sour smell still on her, like it'd never leave. At a payphone, she called her mum, her voice breaking, "You okay?" Her mum was fine, no shadows, no noises, but scared, sensing Emily's panic. "I'm coming home," Emily said, tears falling, the journal in her bag, the knife's whisper in her mind, the curse's claws still reaching. She drove to Mrs. Helen's house, a small cottage in town, but it was dark, windows boarded, like nobody'd lived there in years. A letter was taped to the door, Emily's name in jagged ink. "The rules never end. Don't come back to Blackthorn." She tore it off, her hands shaking, the paper cold, the sour smell spiking, the laughter faint, like the Carters were watching, waiting for her to slip, to break another rule, to take the knife and finish what she started. The fog clung to the highway out of Eden's Hollow, Maine, like it didn't want to let Emily Harper go. She gripped the Chevy's wheel, her knuckles white, the engine's hum the only sound breaking the silence of dawn. October 1996, the sour smell of rot lingered on her clothes, in her hair. A reminder of Blackthorn Hills cursed the headless Carters, their forks scraping plates, the faceless woman with her rusted knife whispering, "Replace us." The journal was in her backpack, its burned ashes smearing the pages, her parents' photos safe in her pocket, their smiles keeping her from falling apart. Mrs. Helen's letter, found on the boarded-up cottage door, "The rules never end." "Don't come back to Blackthorns," sat crumpled on the passenger seat, its ink cold, like it carried the hill's chill. Emily drove straight to her parents' small house in Augusta. An hour away, the fog thinning but never gone, the rear view mirror empty, no headless figures, no glowing eyes, yet her heart wouldn't slow. She burst through the door, finding her mum awake, her dad asleep, his cough quiet for once. "You're okay," Emily whispered, hugging her mum, tears falling, the sour smell fading in the warmth of home. Her mum, frail but sharp, saw the fear in her eyes. "What happened, Emmy?" she asked, but Emily shook her head, unable to speak. Of the Carters, the knife, the voices that still echoed in her head, "They die." She stayed home, quitting the job without a call to Mrs. Helen, who'd vanished anyway, her cottage empty, like she'd never existed. The money 5 weeks' pay, nearly $3,000 came by mail. No sender, crisp bills in an envelope, enough for her dad's next treatment, her mum's meds. Emily burned the journal in the backyard, its pages curling, the words, "Replace us," glowing before turning to ash, the sour smell spiking, a faint laugh carried on the wind. She kept the Bible from the shed, its pages blank now, no red stains, but heavy, like it held the hill's secrets. The knife, though she hadn't taken it, left it on the house's floor, yet its weight haunted her, like it was waiting. Eden's Hollow buzzed with whispers by spring. The house on Blackthorn Hill was boarded up, its windows dark, the cypress trees deader than ever. But folks swore they saw lights at night, red and flickering, like the dining room was alive. A trucker claimed he saw 4 figures on the hill, headless, standing still, forks in hand, gone when he looked again. Kids dared each other to climb the hill, coming back pale, muttering about laughter. Finding a knife in the grass, rusted, its blade wet. The diner hummed with stories. The Carters, murdered in 1955, their heads burned, their curse tied to rules nobody understood. Emily stayed away, working at a grocery store in Augusta, her parents better, her dad's cancer in remission, her mum's heart stronger. But the nightmares didn't stop Blackthorn's dining room, the Carters eating. The faceless woman's knife at her throat, her name whispered, Emily. She'd wake, sweating, checking mirrors, half expecting a void face staring back. One night, her mum found her crying, the Bible open, and Emily told her everything, the rules, the spirits, the escape. Her mum held her whispering, "You're safe now," but Emily didn't feel it. The sour smell faint in her dreams, the laughter never far. A year later, a reporter knocked, young, from a Portland paper, chasing ghost stories. He'd heard of Blackthorn, found Emily through diner gossip, held a new journal not hers, but similar, leather cracked, pages dated 1997, mentioning a cleaner named Emily who woke them. She slammed the door, her heart racing, the journals, words echoing the one she'd burned. She checked her bag, finding the Bible, its pages blank, but a new line appeared, ink fresh, "Don't look back." She burned it, too, the flames green, the sour smell choking, a knife's glint in the fire. Gone when she blinked up. The house was razed in 1998, bulldozers flattening it, the hill scarred, the cypress trees cut down, but the fog stayed, thicker some nights, the hill humming, like it remembered. Locals avoided it, their stories growing headless shapes in the fog. A woman's voice calling names, a knife found in the dirt, rusted but sharp. Emily moved to Boston, a new job, a new life, but mirrors scared her, their glass always cloudy. Shadows moving, the sour smell faint, like blackthorn followed her. She never returned to Eden's Hollow, never spoke of the hill, but kept her parents' photo close, their smiles her shield against the whispers in her dreams. The curse didn't die, not really. A hiker found a knife on Blackthorn Hill in 2000, its blade etched with names: Amos, Ruth, James, Lily, and others, new ones, like it was waiting. He tossed it, but heard laughter, low and hungry, the fog closing in. Eden's Hollow kids still tell the tale, daring each other to walk the hill at midnight, to set out a meal, to break the rules. And sometimes, on foggy nights, when the moon's too bright, a knife appears, rusted and red, whispering for someone new to take it, to replace. The Carters, to wake the house that never sleeps. That's the end of the headless house on Blackthorn Hill. Man, what a creepy ride Amelia's escape, those headless spirits, that cursed knife. Would you take a job cleaning a haunted house for big money, or bolt at the first weird rule? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and share your spookiest ghost stories. I want to hear M. If you loved this tale, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more creepy stories every week. Share this with your friends, See who's brave enough to watch it alone at midnight. Stay safe, and whatever you do, don't leave your room after 12. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.